every start of the year, companies may restructure, may re-strategize, may be looking to do something different in a year. And so how do you make those decisions? And not just decisions, but the best decisions for your businesses, but importantly, for your clients or for your customers? Because I believe one of the best things you can do in a business is to retain a customer. So how do you do that in a year, especially in a year that is you know, heading towards the Vision 2030? It's a year that there's likely to be a lot of emerging innovations and creative trends that may be happening in the market. So we just want to understand what business trends you should be looking out for the year 2026 to do that for your business. Could be small, could be huge, could be a multi-million business. It doesn't matter. A trend is a trend anyway, and you want to serve the best to your customers or your clients. So let me introduce my guest in studio this morning. I'm joined by Ochieng, who's a business developer. Asante sana. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good to have you back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's always a privilege to be at EBN. I don't take it for granted.
We
it's
appreciate.
And,
we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And you know, just before the show started, we were on, you know, what's the best place to really start this conversation, which I believe would be, you know, from 2025, because it may have hinted at what is to come in 2026, and some of the lessons that businesses may have learned in the year 2025 that they may be looking to tweak a little bit and change. So how has the year 2025 been like for businesses? You can take stock of that.
Okay, that's a wonderful place to start. It's usually good to look where you are before you go and analyze where you want to be in the next. So when we look at 2025, according to the report by United Nations, or the statistics, it says that in the last quarter, the economy of Kenya grew by 4.5. And I know on the ground, more so because the Kenyan market, most of the people who are in business or are controlling the economy are SMEs, small and medium enterprises, which most of them have been complaining. Of course, due to the political tensions and even geopolitical impact of whatever is happening across the world and changes in terms of currency and such kind of stuff, people might not have felt the bigger impact. And I think you could even see when the time for Christmas had arrived and when people were traveling and going to various destinations, there people were crying. Even if you were to go like to the shopping malls, the supermarkets, you could see the numbers were very few. People like who are buying, and like on previous years, people are always many who are shopping and going for even traveling like to Western and other places. So to the average common mwananchi, they did not feel the presence of that economic. But according to the statistic by the government and the data bureau, they are saying the economy grew by over 4.5%. And then another thing that I think is happening in our country, there's been a lot of turmoil in the political, where things are being shifted, people don't know the stability, and it is affecting the business in a way. Another thing we were able to see last year, there's been a lot of, in terms of technology and adjustment, we have seen a lot of investment in terms of technology, new startups, and Kenya being a tech hub, and also being a destination where even the big global companies usually look at a destination to reach Africa. We have seen a lot of fintechs, for example, investing in the projects that are currently coming up.
So that has been the year 2025.
Yes.
You know, as you've said, you know, the economy did well according to, you know, key nations that have done their research, but the Kenyan or the common man really didn't feel it. Is this to mean the business environment wasn't doing so well? Because I mean, a Kenyan should have felt it, but is it to mean that perhaps the business environment didn't do that well as they would have expected?
Majority of the, let me talk about the personal experience I've had, because I interact with a number of entrepreneurs. So if you interact with many of the people who are on the ground are doing businesses, and especially in the manufacturing, and also guys who are even like doing export and even producing goods, consumer goods and all of that. So one of the things that has really been of impact to the entrepreneurs, there has been in the introduction of the new taxes by our government. And most of the business people, it has been a challenge to them. Like guys who are, for example, doing manufacturing and even the cost of production. People have had challenges of the cost of power going up. And sometimes it has affected their profit.
Okay.
We have had challenges whereby, like last year, even big companies have been closing their offices here and going to other countries where they feel it is economically viable or the cost of production or doing what they are doing is really easier as compared to here.
Yeah.
So most entrepreneurs, again, another thing is in terms of even the population, like when you look at Nairobi, for example, there has been unpredictability in terms of what is going to happen next. Like even prices of things are changing. Even you have seen even the prices of fuel, it is never constant. So like this month we are told this price, the following month they projected. So that causes business people not to be at a stability. But sometimes actually it makes people to be on a slow mode, whereby people, when even with capital, they don't want to deploy it because they don't know the result and the outcome.
All right. Now let's talk about the trends.
Okay.
You know, in the other world, people may think as trends things that will just come and go. Does that apply the same as well to businesses? When you talk about a business trend, do we look at something that is long term or something that is just short term that is going to come and go? Okay. And as a business, you need to adjust to that, or is it long term that this is what's going to be happening from today to for a very long time?
Okay. So I'll answer by saying that business is affected by a number of factors. And these factors, most of them are in 3 dimensions. We have got the long term, the short term, and the medium term. Like for example, there is if there's one thing right now that one particular trend that is really happening, not only in Kenya, not only in Africa, but it is the adoption of the technology. Okay. Like the coming up of AI. AI has really revolutionized how things are going to happen, and it is actually they are saying that it is at a stage whereby if you don't really learn and adapt it, like somebody was saying that either you will lose your job, not learning AI, you might not lose your job, but how you do that job, somebody else might take it from you. So that is one thing that is predicted even for the long term. Like you have seen even the companies like US and even the billionaires like Elon Musk, they are heavily investing in the AI and even things like robotics that is going to change how the business is really operating. All
right, I'll stick to the digitization and AI a little bit because I think this is quite pertinent. Because even the Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi recently talked about how it's very efficient for service delivery, and that for any business or any company or anyone that wants to start a business and wants to make sure that they deliver essential services very well to their customers, they need to adapt AI. But what may be the biggest concern for somebody before they go to AI? Because they'll be thinking, you know, is it going to take away somebody's job? Is it going to be expensive? What may be some of the biggest concerns for a business before they can talk about digitization and AI?
That's wonderful. I think that is one of the major trends that people, either you are in business or in your career, personal, you need to look at. They are saying that we are moving from AI experimentation to AI implementation. Those previous years, not that AI was not there. It had already been there, but it had not really come to the limelight. And it is like a bubble whereby people are really now implementing and even practicing it. So one of the things that AI is going to do, like in business, there's what we call automation, whereby you automate all of your processes. Any repeating task that can be performed by a machine or technology, most of the big companies are erasing people and putting it there. So like the fear that people are having is anything that could be done, like for example, like even designing a fly and a poster, even ChatGPT, can you just give it the prompt and it will be able to do that. So one of the things is that they say that if you don't upgrade your knowledge and skill, and not only in AI, and actually what is happening, like even with the, like another thing to talk about is the employment and the available opportunities. One thing that is coming out, the world is moving from, is geared towards skill, whereby if you have got a skill and you are able to solve a problem, Gone are the days you'll just say, I have got a degree, like I got a degree in e-commerce or I've got a degree in a business administration. Right now, what they are looking at, do you have the skill set according to the current knowledge that can be used to solve a particular problem? So businesses that adopt responsibly will gain efficiency and competitive advantage in the current market. And another thing it is doing, it is making work easier rather than the long process.
Right.
Yeah.
Do all businesses really need AI? Are there some of the businesses that may be exempted from AI implementation?
Okay. In the bigger picture, if you look at the AI, in terms, like there are two aspects that you look at it. In terms of processes, like even in terms of marketing, how you market your business. Like for a long time, people have been using even the website and the e-commerce to be able to do that. But what AI is doing on how you disseminate, how you process that information, it is much faster. Like the time you used to like even do content creation, right now it has been shortened. Then the second thing that AI is doing is in terms of payment, for example, like mobile payments and all of that, there's a way it is making the feature to be much efficient, even to the people that could not be able to afford it in the past. So it is making even the cost. Some of the things that were only meant for the big people or the big businesses that had got the cash flow to be able to manage and implement. Even now, the people with the small scale capital or small businesses can be able to be able to implement. Can be able to implement. So one thing that we are going to advise the businesses is to try as much as possible to be able to learn and adapt according to your area. For example, just in terms of marketing alone, how you disseminate information online can really change if you just learn the use of AI and how you can adapt it. And another thing about technology is like people are moving from the normal computing to what we call cloud-based computing, whereby people store data. It's about storing data not in the physical gadgets or the machines and all that, but it is in the cloud whereby you can click by hosting it somewhere so you can be able to access the data. So it has shown that people who implement will adapt to technology and use it in the various places, they will be able to compete in the market and also increase their revenues. Right. Yeah.
I think at this point I'll also bring in the concept of cybersecurity, which I believe is quite important because there may be risks as well to you implementing AI or using AI for your businesses. You may be prone to cybersecurity attacks. And so how do you protect your business from that? That yes, AI is a trend that may be here for a very long time. What are some of those long-term cybersecurity measures that you may be able to put up in place for your business?
That is great. Of course, number one thing to protect, cybersecurity is whereby you look in terms of data protection, the information you are using in your business, and also the platforms. Like if it is a website, if it is a system you are using, how is it protected? We have seen even last year, there has been a lot of hacking. And even government platforms have been hacked, and people have been left wondering if the government is being hacked, what about us as an individual? So one of the things you have to, like when you are building a website, for example, usually there's what we call SSL. It's a security feature that is put in the website. Like sometimes when you open a website, the websites when you open, there's a question mark at the corner of the dot when you type www. When that is a risk, because it will be showing a question mark. Anybody, or when you open a website and your computer is having a antivirus software, usually there are sites when you open, it tells you this one is risky. So I think one of the things people need to learn is that both the gadgets you are using and be it the laptop and you are storing the data for the business, you're supposed to put and buy security softwares, just like from antivirus, and then if you are this what we call SSL, so that you are not attacked or you don't lose your data that you have built for some time to be people who are looking, because there are people online who that is their work. They are just looking for the loopholes where they can be able to do that.
Okay, I think we'll switch now to sustainable trends or trends that speak on sustainability, especially of a business. Yes, AI is good, the digitization is good, but may not do all the work to sustain your business in the long run. So what are some of these trends that people are looking at to sustain their businesses, especially at a time when there's continued pressure on operational costs, especially for businesses. So how do they sustain it in such a way that they're able to keep up with their policies, to keep up with AI and keep up with the taxes as well?
I think to answer that question, I think last time when we are having an interview, there's something we shared with people about some of the pillars that you can use to be able to scale your business. So I believe usually this is one thing I teach people, and it is something I apply in my business. There are things that we call like the foundations that you can use to be able to safeguard your business from other risks. Like number one, you need to check on the foundation, and that is where we talk about the legitimacy. So to safeguard your business, like in 2026, make sure that in terms of legality, your business is not having any challenge with the legality. And when I talk about legality, it's about your business is registered, and then also in terms of compliance, like with the government, things like KRA, you are really compliant, you know the obligation, and you are really fair. And then another thing about, again, compliance, last year, the government is tightening the loop about taxes and compliance. Like this year, as you are going to be filing your 2025 tax returns or annual tax, the government has already put, like you have been hearing about this, the e-teams, whereby people are required, as you are issuing the invoices, you do an e-teams generated invoice. So whatever is happening is that you are not going, for a long time, people, for example, have been filing nil returns. But this time, if you try to file nil returns, there is going to be a question mark. You have to support it. And that is where the e-teams is catching people. So legality and structure. Then the second thing is structure. Just have systems and structures in your business that can be able to track what is happening. And it could be as basic as Excel. Sometimes when you think about structure, you think something big like a software like Soho or QuickBook. But usually for the small business, you just start by having a structure. Like, for example, how are things recorded in your business, like when somebody does a transaction? Then it's good to have a plan. Somebody said that if you don't have a plan, you are planning to fail. So it's usually good to have a plan where we talk about having a strategic plan, even for the next 3 years, or having a business plan that shows like you are, for example, if you look this year, for example, and we talk about sustainability, like there are areas where, in terms of economy, like right now people are talking about even things like agriculture and climate smart businesses. And there has been a lot of, even the investors who are coming in to support people, like, for example, something like solar. Solar is becoming like another way of even manufacturing companies. People are opting to get out of the grid line of Kenya Power and installing, even if it is hefty cost when you are putting it, but they are looking the long-term sustainability. So people are adapting to modern ways that can be able to save cost and also give them the long-term profitability.
How about financing? Because I think it's also one of the biggest aspects as well on sustaining a business in the long run, because people may access financing in means that hurt their business even more, because they've got loans. They may go for the grants, they may go for partnerships, they may apply for funding. So what may be the best option in 2026, putting in mind that perhaps the loan return rates may be high? What may be the best option?
Before you take a loan, actually, if you look, study somebody even like the billionaires in the world, there are two principles that people use to build business or to be able to build wealth. There's what we call OPM and OPT. OPM is other people's money, like the loan you are talking about, and OPT is other people's time. So great investors, what they have learned is how to use these two principles, OPT and OPM, where they take other people's money and put it in a project whereby they are going to deploy their resources and the team and the time, but they are very sure they have done research that, like, for example, if I take 50 million in the bank and even build, for example, an apartment, the collections from that project will be more than enough. Like if the bank, for example, is demanding 300,000, but the project you are doing is getting 500,000, it means it is viable. The only challenge is usually if you take, for example, the loan and put it into something that it will not even produce cash flow. It will be able to get, like if you are employed, you are having a pay slip, the money will be coming from your pay slip to pay the loan. So for businesses, I think, number one, you need to analyze where you are. look at how your business has been performing, and you could even be dealing with a number of products. So check which one of these products has been like the best one that gives me profitability. Then based on your performance, sometimes you'll have to change. Like if something is not working, don't just continue doing it. It is always good to analyze and remove what is not working and bring what is working. But with the loans and finances, it's about taking money, but do good research and find where it can be invested well, so that it brings more returns.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we now talk about consumer, I'd say, behaviors, especially in response to a business?
Okay.
Because, you know, this is such a huge trend. If I look at about 10 years ago,
yes,
the, you know, customer service career may not have been as predominant as it is right now, where there's a particular person that is to deal with customers, talk to customers, get their feedback, you know, sort out their issues.
Yes.
And this may be one of the biggest consumer behavior shift, wouldn't you say, for the year 2026, so that companies may be able to structure proper customer service departments, how they can get feedback from customers, how do they give their customers the first-hand experience. Yeah.
I think there's a quote that says that you can take a whole year to get just one client, but just a few minutes or seconds to lose the same client. So I think when it comes to customer care services, I think one of the areas in business is one thing to win a client, it's one thing to maintain the clients. And I think with the coming of the technology, it is very, very sensitive, because nowadays, even before a customer buys something, like in terms of pricing, they will go to Google and check online the different prices of a particular thing they want to buy. And they will only go to buy it where they feel their budget has been taken care of and they are not spending much. But even after buying it, or in the process of going to buy that item, they would like to have an experience with the customer. So the business people just need to be sensitive in terms of how they handle, like when the customer comes in, and even being ready to get the feedback. Because most of the time, most their businesses, you buy one thing, but they don't even reach out. They only remember you when again you come by yourself to buy them. But look, like for example, for Safaricom, I've really been keen about like this. If you go to Safaricom app, they have done a number of apps. Like there are a number of services intertuned into that. Like there's something coming up. Of course, I should not do for them the advert, but they launched the money market in their own platform, like the ZD. And after that, there's something that I think they're also working on. They are working on how people can buy shares directly from the NSCC, Nairobi Stock Exchange, without necessarily going to a broker. But I think that what has informed that, they have realized they have got numbers, like the same subscribers who have been using the services of calls, M-Pesa, and other services. Now they are using the same data to reach out to the same clients and bring other services that they believe can still be used. So business people need to learn to use data. So data is important. Data is very important because data will inform you in terms of even in terms of cash flow, which one is performing well, which products is doing well, but also it will give you the behaviors of the clients. And with the AI nowadays, there's a way you can be able to interpret data both from the marketing, like even if you're marketing from the website or social media, it will give you the trends of a customer and how they behave. I think Kenya is one of the best countries, I think, for a consumer, because we're almost like a digital payment mode country, where you may be able to even just board a matatu and you pay via your phone. Go to something else and pay via your phone. Do you foresee a situation where there may be businesses, majority of them in 2026, that are just doing the cash, and would it be beneficial for them to go just the digital way? I think last year, when there was stringent tax, when the government had said they want to follow up, like SMEs who have not been, they are trying to widen their tax bracket. And they have been trying to bring in the SMEs in. And one of the things they had mentioned, they are going to be connecting with the banks and the like M-Pesa, the Safaricom, to be able to give them the real data, how money has been coming in. So at some point, like even like, for example, if you go to Isili, they had tried, they tried to tell you to pay with cash. They were trying to move away from the digital. But I believe where the world has gone into, trying to run away from the online both the online presence and the online technology, like in terms of payment, will limit you. Like one thing that this technology is doing is to make you that it makes you global. Like for example, if you go today to Jumia, you can order anything, like even if it is in Dubai or in China, but they are able to bring it. But that process has made the transactions to be embedded in a way. And Kenya, Kenya are the people who came up with M-Pesa. And Kenya has really been a champion in championing. Like the transactions that happen mobile alone in Kenya, it has been projected that in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be over 700 billion US dollars. So there's a lot of potential in terms of the technology and mobile payments being integrated. So a business that wants to secure growth, they have to really just tap into it. Because if you don't, and nowadays most people don't even work with cash. Money is in the mobile. So it means if I come to buy something from you and then you tell me I can't pay by M-Pesa or by bank, it means I'll just go where it is being done.
You may lose a customer.
You may lose a customer.
All right. I'd love us to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'd love us to talk about the trends of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, because I believe it's quite essential. We've got green energy. We've got the issues of solar panels, power saving, solutions. So that is also quite important as well as for a business that is trying to cut costs of operations, but at the same time ensuring that they enhance operation efficiency. So that's quite important with the SDGs. So that conversation returns after the break. Continue talking to us. We'd love to hear from you this morning concerning these particular trends and what you feel works or you feel does not work. So we'll be back shortly. Stay with us. Don't go too far.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You're watching Morning Live. The conversation continues on the business trends of the year 2026 and just what you need to look out for. Especially as a person that is trying to start a business or a person that is already in businesses. What are some of the things that you need to accommodate? So we've covered a number of things, including on digitization and AI, on sustainable ways that you can ensure your business is here for the long term, not just short term, on consumer behavior shift and what are some of the things that you need to be doing to ensure you retain the clients that you have, and at the same time, through those clients, perhaps even get more clients. I also talked about matters to do with sustainable development goals, because I believe it may be quite important that you establish as well a niche for your business. Now, some of the SDGs which may give you trends to do in 2026 could be good health and well-being, gender equality, affordable and clean energy, talk about sustainable cities and communities, as well as climate action. And so, Bernard, looking at the SDGs, number one, it may give any business a niche, right?
Yes,
2026, that this is what we offer, and we do that because it's a sustainable goal in the long run. But at the same time, those that may already be in the business already, how do they incorporate some of these SDGs within their businesses?
Okay. So it's very, very important because the entire world, like if you look at the G7, or the big 7 economies, if you look at China, if you look at America, UK, and all those, and the UN, which has been the champion of the Millennium Sustainable Goals. And I will just mention some of them, like eradication of anger or the food security. Like in that line, you are seeing that agriculture is one of the backbone of economies, because people cannot do away with food. But you still find out that there are countries whereby people are very poor, and usually they joke that there are people who are not able to spend $1 a day. Like poverty line, usually they look, are you able to spend $1 to $2 a day? And when they talk about poor people, those are families that a whole family cannot be able to spend $1 to $2 a day. So when you look at the food security, businesses that are like in terms of food and consumer can be able to adapt into that. And when you look at, for example, agriculture, there are new modern ways of doing agriculture. And another thing about food, people are moving from, people are very sensitive about the food they eat, and they are moving to the organic. So you can really come up with ways to produce organically, produce food. And that again is also tied with another millennium the sustainable goal, which is the health and accessibility of health. And I think one of the ways to deal with the health issues is to monitor what you are eating. Like somebody said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. So there's a number of ways that you can be able to bring in your existing business how you can support the sustainable development goals. So just looking at every niche, if it is agriculture, look away your business, and even if it is about, like most businesses do, what we call CSR, giving back to the society. So there's a way you are able to look at niche and bring it back to whatever is happening.
Right. Yeah. What about matters to do with affordable and clean energy? Because I'd give an example of a school that I know which has moved away from electricity and actually decided to do solar panels, and they say, no, this is quite cheaper. And so for a business, because that's a business, for it to go sort of that direction, could be raising two concerns. Number one, the cost of electricity is high.
Yes.
Number two, you know, this is the future, solar panels is the future. If you look at that, how would you assess that?
Green is the future.
Yeah.
Green is the future. I myself, there's a client I interacted with over the holidays, and he has an apartment, but at some point they had to decide to bring in solar panels. They spent over 500,000 just to put solar in panels, which in the long run, they are being told the cost of electricity will reduce by over 20 to 30%. So you cannot, like, we have, one of the challenges we have had in Kenya, for example, and I think in the newspaper, we never miss where the KPL is telling us, like, this region today is going to have power shortages and all that. So I think you cannot ignore the solar energy. Right now, if you go to the rural areas where people like are building, automatically, even from the small solars, and people are already incorporating it into their household, and so it is something you cannot ignore. And being in business, one of the ways of reducing cost, like if you are in manufacturing, like you are doing production, solar energy is one of the best ways to cut that. So it is good to look ways on how to harness it and be able to incorporate it. If you look even the investors about the climate change, a number of projects, there are investors who are out there who are just financing any project to do with energy saving and sustainability. So, and solar is one of them. Yeah.
All right, that's quite important, because for you to say, you know, it may reduce the cost of electricity by 20 to 30%. I believe that's such a huge figure for any business that is, you know, looking to cut down on the cost of operations. No, there's something important, and I see this a lot when we are having key leaders, top business leaders meeting, and you know, they do the photos, they'll share it on online and be able to see. One of the questions that has always come up is on gender, and when they look at a business and they just see, you know, it's just the men in suits, and it's just the men in suits, and there's always a problem that may arise with a section of people. Is it that important for a business that is gender equity? Very, very important. I think where the world has moved to, and with the coming of knowledge, there is no biasness. Like there are days where they would say that this is the job of a woman, this is the job of a man. Like even if you look at things like secretarial jobs, receptionists, there are jobs that could not be done by other. It was gender-based. But I think even when you look at the business nowadays, I've seen, like even in Kenya, if you look the corporate ladder, most of the CEOs currently are women. And there is a rising rank in that area. And this tells us that the world has really changed. You are now being taken based on the value and the solutions, even like they are looking for a CEO. They look on your capacity in terms of what you are bringing on the table, in terms of the value and the whatever you carry and all of that. So in any business, it is very, very important to look at the gender equity. And when you are employing people, don't just go one side, let there be a balance. There are businesses that are gender sensitive, for example. So in such kind of cases, usually what you do, you make sure that there's a balance, but give the priority to people who are supposed to be having the majority in terms of share. Even like in ownership of companies, nowadays even investors, like there's this thing of even government, there's what we call AGPO, access to government procurement opportunities. Do you know that when there are opportunities that are
being given to women, some are being given to youth. So usually it is something that is being considered.
Right.
So you cannot just ignore it.
You can't ignore it.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap these conversations up, I'd love you to speak about what you envisage the year 2026. Is it an optimistic year for businesses, especially putting in mind that we've got elections coming in 2027.
Okay.
So there are people may be looking for funding from investors, but investors tell them, you know what, just let's finish with the elections first. And, is that the scenario that you envisage this year? And how do businesses protect themselves, especially at a critical year coming, like an election year?
Based on statistics, they are saying the economy will grow. From 4.5 last quarter to around 4.7 this year. But these are some of the risks to watch, major risks to watch about, like this just what you have mentioned, political instability and social unrest, which is not only here. You saw the other day US, a whole country captured a whole president. That tells you that the countries with the power and resources are really at the hand. In our country, it has always been, when election happens, we take 1 to 2 years, still we are on election. This is like 1 year people work, because I'm looking at our scene currently, we are in the it's like we are doing election the following month. So for businesses, like most investors with money, we usually set businesses. Usually they are guys, they know how to check this trend. They watch when the election and all that and what so number one thing to be you have to be good at your cash management.
Yeah.
The money that already you have, you really have to manage it well, and only deploy it into opportunities that you have really researched well and you are sure you are going to benefit. Otherwise, you are likely to, due to the political and also the economical, is not much stable. Yeah. There's still that uprising and things that cannot be taken into consideration. Then another thing that you really need to be regulatory and compliance, which I mentioned. The government is very keen about how they are going to collect their money, and they are very keen about people who are not compliant. So just make sure that in terms of KRA, in terms of filing, and another thing, like even landlords, for a long time, people have not been declaring their rental income. Right now, KRA has come up with a way. With the time, we just find, there's a way, there's somebody I was telling, he just received a message that we can see you are having rental income, but you have not been submitting. So it's just good to be keen and they say prevention is better than cure. So before you are caught up with, and then if there is a business you had registered in terms of regulatory and you are not using it, I recommend you just close it. Because with the time, they are coming for those businesses and all that. In terms of threats like cyber security, which we had mentioned about, when you are building your platforms in terms of the website, in terms of communication online, make sure you also invest in security softwares that can be able to safeguard that. Right. But the year looks, there's much potential and all of that, but of course potential, there's also your part to do. It will not just happen. There's your part to do for other things to happen. Right. Yeah. So as we close it up, for somebody that is looking to perhaps boost their business, find consultancy, how can they reach you? Okay. So usually we offer consultancy under a platform called Global 7 Business Solutions, which you can always reach us at 0799 717 801. And also on our social media platform, when you go to LinkedIn or Facebook, just search Global 7 Business Solutions, you will get us. So anybody who is either starting a business and you want advice, or you are already in business, or you are having challenges with the tax, we can always reach out to us. We'll sit down with you and have a consultation and be able to talk to you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time this morning. Bernard Ochieng, who's a business developer, for just taking us through the business trends to look out for in 2026. And this is a conversation, by the way, that's quite important because I believe this country really depends a lot on MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises. And so you play a critical role to ensure that the economy is, continues to run and run efficiently for that matter. So this is something that you definitely need to rewatch, to share with your friends, with your business partners, baby. So we wrap it up at that point this morning. Thank you very much for watching. Coming up at the top of the hour is Your Faith with Reverend Felix Kavoy. So keep watching EBN TV. Don't go too far. Thank you.